Hello, or malo elele as they say in the Tongan language. Today I will be making a veganized version of a Tongan recipe I found online called Tongan chili lime chicken, or chicken in this case. I'm sure you will enjoy it. It will surely liven up things in your kitchen. So let's head over to the kitchen and get cooking. For this recipe, you will need vital wheat gluten and poultry seasoning, garlic powder, Dijon mustard, rice vinegar, nutritional yeast, veggie broth, liquid smoke, garlic, coriander seeds, cardamom seeds or pods, an onion, limes for juicing, miso paste, raw sugar, pineapple juice, cilantro, chilies, and fresh ginger. Grapeseed oil or vegetable oil of your choice, nutmeg, and salt. This is the delicious chili lime chicken we're going to be making today. First of all, we're going to be using our Bob's Red Mill Vital Wheat Gluten. It's what is used to make all those vegan meats that you all love so much. It gives it that stretchy, kind of fleshy texture, as weird as that sounds. So wheat gluten is the sticky, elastic part of the wheat. And when working with it, you want to be very careful not to overwork it, and you don't want to underwork it either. If you overwork it, it's going to be very, very tough. If you underwork it, it's going to be more bready. It is not recommended that you use it to make bread. We'll need a 1/4 cup of our nutritional yeast. This is our poultry seasoning, which has thyme, sage, marjoram, rosemary, black pepper, and nutmeg. Of course, you can blend all of these herbs yourself, but they're already all in one bag, ready to go. We're just going to add 3 teaspoons of our poultry seasoning. We'll just pour in 1 cup of our veggie broth. We got 1 tablespoon of our organic miso. We're just going to pour in our veggie stock and mix it together. We're going to add our liquid smoke. Add a teaspoon. Now we're going to mix our wet and dry ingredients together quickly and knead it for about 5 minutes and then let it rest for 10 minutes. We'll mix in the wet to the dry ingredients. We'll squish it all together. Make sure it's all incorporated. And pull and stretch it for 5 minutes. You don't want the dough to be too sticky. Keep pulling and stretching it. This will toughen it up. So you'll have that fibrous texture. So we'll let our seitan dough rest for 10 minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to get our simmering liquid ready to go. Tonga is a Polynesian country which is an archipelago, a chain of islands totaling 169 islands, only 36 of which are inhabited. The population is just over 100,000, and Tongatapu is the island with the most inhabitants. Tonga is connected to the Hawaiian word kona, which means leeward, which is kind of ironic since they have typhoons. The typhoons occur mainly between December and April. However, they mostly affect the northern islands. We're going to chop some onion just to add to our simmering liquid, about a 1/4 cup. Another fun fact, Tonga is a constitutional monarchy and the only indigenous one in all of the Pacific Islands. Coconut milk, taro, yams, sweet potato, and all these different tropical fruit are generally what's used in Tongan cuisine. However, it's a very meat-centric culture, and they use a lot of like pigs and fish and shellfish. The word is shellfish, not selfish. Oy But it's always fun to veganize all the meat-centric dishes. We'll add 4.5 cups of our broth. Tonga is called the Friendly Islands, and it is because Captain James Cook, when he arrived, received a very friendly welcome. Little did he know, the chiefs wanted to kill him. But since they couldn't decide on how, he lived! A quarter cup of nutritional yeast, a good vegan source of B12, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, It's okay to put the seitan in before the water comes to a rolling boil. Once the water comes to a rolling boil after the seitan pieces have been put in, you're going to want to reduce the heat to low. Our seitan is done resting, and we're going to want to cut it into smaller pieces. When it cooks in the simmering liquid, it's going to increase in size 3 times, so keep that in mind. So we're going to try to keep the pieces on the smaller side, and depending on how big you want it, you can cut it to your liking. So you ideally want to cut them in equal pieces, but if there's 1 or 2 that are not perfectly matching, don't worry, Gordon Ramsay isn't around to judge you. So we're just gonna plunk our seitan pieces in. Now we'll leave it be for 1.5 hours. We'll keep an eye on it though if we need to add more water, or just give it a little stir so that the ones on the bottom go to the top and vice versa. If not all the pieces are covered, we'll just give it a little stir every once in a while. The pot is not the biggest. And you may need to add some extra water. It's okay if you use water rather than the veggie broth, because our marinade is what's going to bring out the most of the flavor. We're going to get the flavorings ready for our marinade. We're going to microplane some garlic and ginger. Here's our microplaned garlic, and we're just going to chop the pieces that we couldn't get to without cutting ourselves. A thumb's worth of ginger is good enough. Now we're going to use our mortar and pestle. We're going to want to add 1 teaspoon of our coriander seeds. And in this case, we're using our cardamom pods. You have to open them up to get to the seeds. If you can find the cardamom seeds, that would be better. You could skip this step. So I'm just gonna crush them up on the board to get to the seeds. You can just crack them open, and then you can get to the seeds that way. We got our teaspoon of the cardamom seeds. Some of the inner seed membrane is there, and that's fine. We'll add it to our coriander seeds. Before I go at it with the mortar and pestle, I'm just going to lightly toast our seeds. So dry toasting our spices really brought out the aroma, and we want to just leave it to cool for a little bit before we put it directly into our stone. Our seeds have cooled, so we're going to put them into our mortar and pestle. We're going to grind them up. And what we're going to do is put in our ginger and garlic and give it a grind just to get all that flavor mixed in. We're gonna add 1 cup of oil, so we have our grapeseed oil here. This is so all the flavors get spread out. And you'll see how much our seitan has expanded. Seems like a lot, but once you see the large pieces, you'll understand. And we're gonna get our lime juice going.
A thing to note about limes and citrus in general, if you keep them out of the fridge, you'll get more juice out of them, but don't keep them out of the fridge too long.
So we have about a 3/4 cup here. We'll just pour it in. And we need some onion for our marinade too. Just a half onion. And we'll add our pineapple juice to the mix. This recipe suggests pineapple juice or papaya juice, so we're using the pineapple juice to our marinade. And 2 teaspoons of Dijon. And we're going to add some nutmeg. Now we'll chop up our cilantro. And we're going to reserve some for the end as well. In it goes. Give it a stir. Now it's time to chop up our chilies. You can add the amount that you think is okay. And we're stirring in our ginger, garlic, coriander seeds, and cardamom seed mixture into our marinade. Now we're going to return to our seitan. So if you remember the size of the pieces in the beginning, you will see that it's quite a big difference here. I've been stirring it periodically because of the size of the pot. I'm pushing them down so they're evenly cooked, and they'll be ready to come out shortly. So what we're going to do now is simply take our seitan out of the pot and put it in a bowl and then let it cool a little bit, and then we're going to put it in our marinade. We have a lot of our simmering liquid left over, so we're just going to put it in jars and we'll save it for other meals. And you can also freeze it, like in pucks or whatever you want. Don't put it in the freezer when it's still hot. Now we're going to put our seitan in our marinade. So our seitan is done the marinating process, and we've preheated our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're just going to put in our seitan on some parchment lined baking sheet, and it will be in the oven for 25 minutes. So we have our sauce pot here, and we're going to pour in our marinade and reduce it. Now our seitan is ready to be taken out of the oven, and we're just going to plate it now. And just gonna do a quick taste test because Shimmy is anxious to eat. So remember, if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and subscribe I got too excited. Subscribe to my channel for more videos. There will be a new video every Monday. Tonga is the island with the most inhabitants. I'm hoping I pronounce that. I hope I pronounce that correctly. If I can pronounce other words correctly too, that would be great. Tonga is called the Friendly Islands because Captain James Cook received a very friendly welcome when he arrived.